Hey there, SPED Upper. It's Caroline, and I am ready to show you how to use the IEP template tool that is now in the membership. So let's first take a peek at the dashboard. So over here on the dashboard, we're going to scroll down, and I've put it here at the bottom so that we don't all confuse ourselves. So we click on that, and it's going to open up that tab. This is where this training video lives. This is where we'll create the IEP, and over here is where we'll be able to see all the IEPs that we've written. And down here is the link for the best practices that you can quickly download. So let's create an IEP here. We are going to make an IEP today for little Jack Horner. So let's put Jack's name in here. And we are going to put Jack's pronouns. Jack is a second grader. Oh goodness, which means he was born in, let's say he is today's date, and let's just change the year to, is that right? No. Let's say 2018. We'll be close. And Jack's parent name is going to be Jane Horner. And their address is anywhere in town. Oops. And we'll go with Arizona. And that's their zip code. And their phone number is oh so similar. Okay, and they go to South Elementary. All right, so all the random details that we need to generate the plan and have all of Jack's information there, including the pronouns, very important so that it lays everything out nicely throughout. So attending the meeting, we'll have a public agency rep, of course his teacher, of course a special education teacher, of course his guardian, and we'll put everyone's name in there. And I'll be the special education teacher. And the guardian was Jane Horner. Okay, and this is his initial. We're going to say he was referred right when we came back from winter break, and that the meeting it was today. We'll put today's time. We'll jump over to the next page, and we will see what else we need to add here. We were assessing Jack for autism, and what I love about this is see all these different choices here that you can pick from. Even if you're not using this to actually write your IEP because your school district has an IEP template, pull this up as you're doing it, because you can copy and be like, okay, let's see, yeah, we don't need to give him a more restrictive environment, but we need to give him accommodations and in-class supports. You can select more than one of these. So we can say that he is able to access the general education curriculum. You're like, that one fits better. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one out of here. You can add anything that you want to this box. You can type it independently. These are just jump off points to get you started. So we're going to go with that. And then we're going to say, okay, so how does the impairment affect his abilities? Again, we can click through some real easy one here. We're going to say, yeah, he is pursuing proficiency at his current grade level. And that, let's see, he participates in, his functional performance includes the ability to follow a schedule, communicate his wants, needs, participate in adult guided activities. Again, we can detail any more of these, and we can add any more of these that we would like. And let's jump to our next page and strategies over here. All right, so he does not have limited English. We would say no, but if he does, we'd hit yes. These choices will pop up here. So let's go ahead and pretend that he does, and maybe he needs, let's see, we don't want English language learners there. I'm going to say that he needs a voice output device, so something very similar. Oops. But I'm just going to update it to match his autism there. Again, if Jack were blind or had a vision impairment, this can come up to help you guide it on that. We're going to say no for that. Same thing if he is deaf or hard in hearing. We're going to have some choices that come up here for you. I'm going to go ahead and say no on that. And again, if he has a health plan, diabetes, any kind of medication that he would be taking at school, we would have this pop up here. So let's say that he takes his medication at school. We would leave that there for his health plan just so that it pops up as a reminder to everybody who should be looking at this plan. All right, so let's say that yes, Jack does have a behavior issue. He has some physical aggression. He will elope, and sometimes he will even refuse. So that's just going to briefly, this objectively will state Jack will become physically aggressive when he's asked to work. He has left the classroom and school building when, oops, my mouse just went crazy, when he didn't want to work. He will refuse non-preferred activities. Let's fix both of those. Okay, so does he need a behavior plan? Well, you probably determined that when you did your initial eval. We're just going to go ahead and say yes here. And we're going to say, does this affect his learning or the learning of others? We'll say yes. And again, we can select here. I love to do this. It just throws down a nice standard sentence for you, and then you're just going to add it here. When, let's see if we can get talk to text to work for me. Maybe not. Asked to complete non-preferred activities. Pause that for a second so I can talk to you. Jack will use his body to strike the person that he perceives is the individual in charge. Turn that off again so I can talk to you. So that's how I like to edit those. And then I'm going to say an attempt to not do the activity at hand. And it can be as simple as that. So then we jump down here into present levels. If you look at the very beginning, this alphabet recognition, then phonics, this tells you what area you're looking at, and then the skill is listed below. So let's say he's still working on decoding. So you can see that pops down here into present levels of performance. You can leave decoding there if that helps you. You can delete it, whatever works for you. This is all ready except for, of course, percent. So you do need to know Jack is able to decode words with approximately, let's say, 45% accuracy. So update those as well. And of course, date, maybe you assess that on February 24th. So update that as needed, of course. You can do that for all of these. So, if he has no issues, if you're not going to add a math goal, then you might not need to select anything for math. So you're just going to kind of go through and, what are you looking at here? I do want him to be, let's put phonetic writing in there so you can see another example. Again, we would change percent here. We would change date here throughout. And we definitely want to talk about his behavior since he's had some issues with behavior. So let's do a social skill behavior there. Again, you can see where you would need to change date. You would need to change the number of negative behaviors, and you would need to list those issues that you've been documenting. So let's jump to our next page here. And now for Jack, we are going to look at all of his strengths. So for academics, for communication, for social, what are his main strengths? So let's say that he is organized. When he is ready to work, he finishes work in the given time. He likes to answer questions, and when he has written communication, he will follow those directions. If there's something other here in social, we could add it here, like he enjoys his social, need to use talk to text again, social group with the counselor. And maybe he is also honest. Gotta love that about autism. Any concerns that caregivers have, that's his family or anyone else that's responsible for him outside of school. So we might say here, Jack's family is concerned about his ability to function on his own and complete simple tasks at home and at school, period. And for some reason, they wrote tasks twice, so we're going to take that out. And then, will Jack participate in a state-mandated school? Of course, if you're a private school, you're going to say other because you don't have that. If you're a state school, typically at this age, Jack will still be participating in that state-mandated school. But pick whatever is most appropriate for your setting and, of course, for the student and the requirements set forth by your laws. So classroom accommodations. This is what Jack is going to do to make sure that we are leveling that playing field for him. So he definitely needs those classroom visual rules. Maybe we're going to start with our first thin board. Everybody needs cue cards. And let's say that he is going to have a sensory break as well, written into his day. If we're doing grading, we're going to accept technology assisted work. We are going to do regular grade checks and no handwriting penalty. We can give extra supports. And this might be something that you have worked on already and kind of talked to your team about. So you might already have all of these things ready to go. Let's see, headphones, fidget, alternate text, text-to-speech, which I obviously need as well. He might need a seat cushion as determined by the occupational therapist. And checklist, yes, extra time. And one more, testing. Extra time for testing, and maybe we'll do some reduced choices, small group, and let's do read aloud. Again, you can add an other here if you'd like, which pops up over there in a kind of next to instead of underneath space. So we're going to hit next after hitting those accommodations, and we are now going to look at testing. So the ones we just did are things that you can do in general for the classroom, and it's not hovered on like if you are a state tested facility that's receiving funding from your state. This is a little different, and these are typically guidelines of what you can provide during that state mandated testing. So he might need assistive technology and access to his own materials. He can read aloud. We can read aloud to the student. Could be alternate indication of choices. He could need that small group. He might need extra breaks, extended time, flexible testing, and let's see, other. We could say broken into smaller testing sessions. And again, make sure that whatever you choose on these areas, you're being compliant with your district, with your state, and all of the standards that are mandated with that. Okay, so progress monitoring and adding a goal. So up here, we're going to go into add goal, and this might be my most favorite section of the entire IEP template. So let's say we're going to add an English goal for him first. We are going to say, yes, we want to add that. We're going to insert that here, and then it pops up our next box. And our next box gives those strengths again. What are we going to say in here for Jack? So we're going to say, for his academics, we're going to say how old he is. Let's say he was 8, though my math wasn't working great, and he's in the 3rd grade. We're going to edit all this appropriately. And let's see, his academic strengths in the area of, let's say, math. And we would update all of this to make sure that it is appropriate to Jack. Then we're going to come down and we're going to say, okay, we want to give Jack a goal, sometimes more than one goal. We're going to start with one goal here. And we were working on some phonics. Let's see what we can get. We've got fluency, comprehension. Let's go over here to early reading. And we're going to do decoding again. And again, you can leave this. You can take this away. You can adjust this as anything that you'd like to. We're going to look at how are we going to teach this. We are going to do direct, explicit instruction for him. We're also going to break it down into smaller. You can click as many of these as you'd like and or add your own. I don't want to do any social skill for this. That's more for behavior. Any modifications there as well. And then how will I document this goal for Mr. Jack? So I am going to do baseline data because I already know what percent he was at. He was at that 40-some%, right? And I'm going to say that I'm going to do this quarterly because that means that I can combine as many as I want. I'm just going to only report out on it quarterly. If you hit daily, weekly, or monthly, you need to make sure that you have the evidence for everything that you've checked. So that would mean that you'd have to progress monitor Jack every day. If you can do that, I love you. Teach me how, and keep on keeping on. We're going to add this goal. It's going to throw it now into his system, and it's going to say, hey, you've got an English goal in here. If I want to edit that, I'm going to come back here to view that. It won't show up here until the very end, but you can go back and edit it there. I'm going to add one behavior goal as well here too. Again, you can add as many goals as you'd like. I have it at the dates that we're doing the meeting for a year out. You can adjust those as needed as well. So let's go ahead and add his behavior goal. I'm going to start with the one. Let's go down here to behavior. Again, I'm going to adjust all of this information to make sure that it works for him and that it is precisely meeting Jack's needs. I would go through all of this and make sure that it does, but I'm going to skip that for the sake of time. And then behavior goals. What behavior goals do I want Jack doing over here? Problem solving, organization, responsibility, coping strategies. That one looks like something that would be really good for him because instead of it striking us when he's upset, we want him to have a coping strategy. Again, I can change any of this. I can delete this, whatever I'd like to do there. But I'm going to move on to designed, specifically design instructions. And I am going to look at targeting social skills. I am going to, let's see. Yeah, let's use some of that as well. That might be helpful. I'm also going to do direct instructions to make sure that he grasps core behavior concepts and skills at his instructional level. Oops, I didn't have everything. So I've hit, before I'm ready, I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to edit so that I add that extra part into the section that I left out. So scroll back down here and I'm going to say descriptive documentation on this one because I'm going to document out what I'm seeing from him. If I have any behavior reports that I've sent into the office, into his cumulative file, I might include those. And I'm going to add that now, so that goal should be good. And again, we can keep going on these goals as many as we'd want. I'm going to stop with those two there. I'm going to go back to progress monitoring. I'm going to say that he is monitored quarterly. And again, we can adjust that. I'm going to say grade level. And you can come through here. You might say, let's say you're on 6 weeks. You can change that to 6 weeks. You can add anything else that you'd like there as well. Now let's jump to our next page and see what Jack is up to here. We need to know what kind of services that he's going to receive. He needs to get inclusion services. He might get that daily. He needs to get that for X many minutes, and that would be, let's say, 30 minutes extra support. And that'll be in the general education room. And let's say for inclusion, he is going to receive assistance. That is pretty good there. So we're going to go next here. And okay, does he require extra special transportation? If so, yes, I can click and put here. If not, I can leave it at no and just not select anything. I'll go ahead and say yes just so that it shows up here. We're going to put that one. Again, edit and adjust or type your own here as you needed to. Does he need any additional information? Yeah, he needs some audio things. Again, we're good there. Does he need assistive technology? We said yes. I'll leave PECs because just in case his Dynavox is down, he might need PECs. And any additional program modifications. We said he needed headphones. He's going to need that preferential seating. And again, add whatever you'd like, add your own. If there's something that you add frequently in here that I don't have, send it to me in an email so I can add it to this list so that you are not typing it over and over again. And then we all benefit from that wonderful thing that you've added to everyone's list. Does Jack get an extended school year? If yes, all of these choices will pop up here. I'm going to say yes again just so you see, but if not, then you just hit next and go on to your next category. For our next step of the IEP, we're going to say how many minutes. Most school days are about 1650, but calculate yours out, and we're going to say that he spends about 30 minutes, though I technically didn't write it that way. And the percentage of time in general ed, let's say, again, math is 95%. So he is in the general ed because he's in more than 85% in gen ed. And click whichever one's appropriate. Make sure you're documenting that well. Any additional factors of his least restrictive environment. So let's see. This would be especially important if he was in a program that's outside of his home school, or if he's in a self-contained classroom like you're seeing here. So we don't want to say that because we didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. Oops. And down here, harmful effects. Most IEPs ask for what the harmful effects is. Typically, we would say that because of his needs, because the extra support, because he's still receiving general education, the committee feels like there's no harmful effects. So that is one of the things I've programmed in there. But again, choose what works for you and your student, of course. And then state why we selected what we did for his determination placement and why we rejected others. So for this one, I would like to say that, he is accessing grade level equipment, curriculum, and he needs those accommodations and supports during his classroom to be successful. Again, modify and do whatever makes the most sense there to support your student. General curriculum, can they participate in all education? If yes, hit yes. If not, say no. You can do this as appropriate, whatever works for you. Non-educational, again, that would be those outside of school extracurricular activities. So say yes. Will they be able to participate in physical education? Yes, he can do general physical education. If not, then you'd be selecting no due to his other concerns. This is why. Again, edit as needed. Yes, Jack goes to his homeschool, so we're going to say yes, he's educated. That is his least restrictive environment. Is his instructional day the same as everyone else's? Yes. If not, that would typically be due to, if we selected this no, it could be a medical condition. It could be related to behavior needs. So again, select what is most appropriate there. And then looking at our next page, we're going to say if Jack needs to do a transition assessment, we would select all of this. I'll show you really quickly just because, but typically at his age, we would not. So if you've done my favorite things, you could have done that obviously within SPED Up Paperwork, and we would say he has a strong interest in pursuing farming. He wants to be a farmer when he grows up. And we would, again, just kind of go through, explain there. Let's see, based on their personal shots, can they talk about their housing? So he wants to live in a house. Regarding his education, what is his desired goal? He wants to get his high school diploma. After high school, what does he want to do? Jack wants to work full time. And then you could say, as a farmer, on his family farm, but again, if you are not doing a transition assessment, just go on to the next page and leave that part completely blank. It'll be absolutely fine. Post-secondary goals, does he require an independent living? No, he does not. If yes, obviously select yes. And I'm going to leave that blank because he did not. Stated transition or life skill, I am going to show you those, but I'm going to leave them blank since we're not technically doing a transition assessment for our third grader. Again, completely fine if you want to, especially if the family wants to. Additional notes, anything that the family wants added here that you think is important that will help the next teacher understand how to help Jack, you will do that. If not, you're going to hit submit here. And then it is going to show you, it's going to take you straight to your individualized education plans. I've only got Jack right here. If I want to, I can click PDF here and it will automatically open up Jack's. See what happens if we open his. You can see all of the information that we just put is right here, going along with what is his individualized education plan. Again, just as you've written it, ready to be used. Orderly, all of that wonderfulness going down right here, reminding you that you can click back to SPED Up Paperwork. Now, if you want to come right back into here to this edit button, you would click that and you can update. Maybe you misspelled a word, maybe you need to update something and something's just not right. You can do that. If you want to delete this, hit delete delete IEP, that will go right away. We'll hit right here though if we want to go back into the editing. And here's all the information already as we've gotten it laid out in one long plan for you to click through and update as you need to. Okay, that is how you do an IEP within SPED Up. Again, jumping back into the whole dashboard, clicking back into the IEP if you want to be in just that category. Good luck. If you are doing this independently as your only IEP tool, I hope it works amazingly. If you are using your own IEP writing tool, have them up in both windows so you can easily copy and paste and get your work done super duper quick. Thanks so much, SPED Upper. See you next time.